How's it going, everyone? This is Jamie with FLA Tutoring. Today we're going to just quickly go over a number line, and we're going to think about positive and negative numbers and how that might be represented in a real-life context. So in front of us here, we have a number line, and that number line here tells us different values as they go from left to right. So right here, we have the left side, and over here we have the right side. Now, as you can see here on the left, we have negative values, and on the right side we have the positive values, the positive direction. And the arrows that are on the side here, this arrow tells us that the number line can go on forever. This tells us it goes on for infinity. And the same can be said here on the right-hand side. We have an arrow there, and that means that it also can go on for infinity. And what you're seeing here with the values is you're seeing numbers that are going to represent whole numbers. So as you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have -1, -2, -3, -4. And typically, most of your introductory number lines are going to have whole numbers. So again, those whole numbers have no decimals and no fractions. And so it gives us a sense about a direction that we can go, especially if we're going to use this for something like addition or subtraction. But we're not going to go there today. What we're going to do is just think about positive and negative numbers using the number line and using some visual representations to help you think about what this means. So look over here to the right-hand side and take a look at this thought experiment. If we have some water here, we could count that water as if this is what's called sea level. And a lot of questions out there deal with something with sea level as representing our zero. In other words, our nothing. So it's kind of our zero here on the number line. Now, if you had a creature that was above sea level, maybe it was a seagull or something like that, would draw some birds, we would say that that is above sea level, and so that is above zero. It's going to be above zero, which means that these birds might be flying somewhere above zero on this number line. Now, of course, those aren't the only creatures that you might see that are in the ocean or around the ocean. You might have some fish, for example, that are swimming. I do my best with the artwork here. So those fish that are swimming are below sea level. They're below sea level, so they're below our 0 point. And if we think about that on the number line, they're going to be swimming somewhere below the 0 here on the number line. And so this is kind of giving us a visual representation of what numbers could represent on a number line if we use a real world scenario. So drawing a vertical number line, let's see how this might compare. If I draw a number line, do my best to make a straight line. If I draw a number line and we say that here the sea level point is 0, you can kind of imagine here that this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. So right here, since is quite a bit above sea level that birds will usually fly, we'll say that these are yards. We'll say that this is yards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yards. And we'll say below that we're going to be going toward the negative side like we saw in our original number line. So this is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on and so forth. So the idea here is the positive is above our sea level, the negative is below, and we're using those negative signs to say, okay, this is below 0. It gives us a frame of reference on our number line to apply the number line in a real world context. Another context that is commonly used here is ground level. So ground level is another common context. And usually if you see a math problem that's dealing with ground level and above and below, you're going to see something like maybe a house. So maybe there's a house, and this house here, the bottom floor might be our 0 point. So this floor is going to equal our 0. And so if the floor equals the 0 point, then again, anything that is above it, and hey, there could be birds or something like that outside. There could be birds. We'll use the animals as an example again. They're above that 0 point, so they're above 0. And if we could have something that's underground, maybe there's some type of critter that's dug its way underneath the ground. So let's just imagine for a second that there is a snake here, and that snake has dug itself underground. Maybe it's hiding out, and it's kind of dug under the dirt. So this snake right here again is below the floor of the house because it's dug itself underground, and so it's going to be below that 0. And so we could draw here on our number line above, just as a fun way to reference it, a snake here that shows us what it means to be above 0 and below 0 from a kind of real world context. So I hope this was helpful to get you to understand how number lines could be used in a real world context, so you get a visualization of how those numbers fall on a number line. We'll do another video in the near future, explain number lines more and applying it with practice problems.